David called us about yews. His yews are creeping up and he wants to prune them. And I thought, this is the thing that people ask about a lot, about pruning, and yews are probably the best poster child for all of this. So we put together a just pruning yews, starting with the conventional pruning that people do, that people can do every year or 2 years, the way that we do it. So these are pruned every year to keep them in a tight shape. That's what they look like from August till about July every year. And then the growth begins to extend itself. The new growth develops some dominance and some pieces start sticking out. So by July and early August, they have antennas. And then it's time for us to prune. We prune in August, or we prune in the dormant season before bud break. And we're pruning off everything that grew that year beyond the limit. So here I'm half pruned. You can do it with shears, you can do it by hand, but you take off all that grew beyond your limit. And after you've taken that off, then you thin. Can you see the white tips showing at you in several places? Those are the thicker pieces that when you pat that sheared shrub now, they will resist you. Those are the pieces that were becoming dominant, and those are the pieces that you reach in and cut back further. So we shear and we thin. And those are the thinnings now laying on the blanket, and you can see holes, if you want to call them that, in the shrub. That's letting light into the interior so that it keeps growing in the interior. And then they look like this, and they look like that until the next maybe 3 or 4 weeks of shagginess before you prune them the next year. And that's the conventional pruning, to keep them in topiary, and pruning them in late August keeps them looking like this the longest. But you can also prune them every year at the beginning of the year, and then you might have some feathers to look at and some antennas to look at through the wintertime, like that. This kind of effect, and this happened on these yews that you're looking at right here when the owner was shearing, happens when you shear when the plant's in active growth in the spring. So people will wait until the yews begin to grow, and then they'll start shearing. And the response of the plant is to branch and push out more growth. So if you are going to shear during active growth, you're going to have to go out and shear a number of times, making it even thicker at the top. We tell people don't do that. And there's quite a bit in what's coming up to number 219. Now, here's where I want to show you how to find these things. If you're looking for things to do at things that have to do with a particular time of year, go to our What's Up section. So you see What's Up on the home page. Click What's Up and scroll down in the menu, or open the menu to go down to Ensemble Editions. And under Ensemble Editions are all the seasons: early winter, winter, late winter, early spring. If you click open early spring, every one of those articles, every one of those What's Coming Up issues that's in there has our early spring topics. 219 happens to be the one that has all the things about cutting back yews, cutting them back naturally, cutting them back in tight shapes. These, for instance, are cut back. We cut these back to make them look natural, and rather than shearing them when we cut them. So they're ready to be cut in August. We're taking out whole branches back 1 year. Show them 1 year's growth, Steve. They're up 1 year's growth, 2 years growth, 3 years growth. We're reaching back 3 years into the shrub and clipping out the whole branch. That's leaving behind branches that have been growing from where we cut previously. And so we always end up with this feathery look at the outside edge. In a plant that's been sheared repeatedly, all of the branching is up at the top, all of the foliage is up at the top, and there's no light inside, so you have dead branches inside and no green inside. It's a different way of doing things. And this works for a long period of time. Here's the first year that we started working on those shrubs to keep them that size and looking like that. There's year 7 down below. They're still there. That's 20 years actually now.
Yeah.
And they're still the same size, and they still look fluffy and nice because
and they push out really nice new growth all the time.
Yes, you get to see the nice new growth because you're not out there pruning it off after it's growing. Okay, any questions about yew pruning? We'll take those as we go along here, because this is that same thing applied to a topiary yew, so a shaped yew. This one gets pruned every 2 years. And in this case, it's being pruned on the 3rd year, because it's the year that it was supposed to be pruned. There was scaffolding on the building next to it, and we couldn't get to it. So it's been 3 years since it's been pruned. It's gone well past the limit that we gave it. So I'm going to prune it to cut it back to where it's supposed to be and thin it. I am first cutting back to so the branch, each arm has its own definition, and I'm thinning. So I'll move the ladder over to the right and thin the end of the right-hand branch, and then move over and thin and cut on as I come down. And when I'm done, what I'm taking out is I'm taking out branches like this. This has a lesser growth rate because it's a bigger plant with more branches now, and it's growing only about 6 to 8 inches a year. And I can go back 3 years in a piece like that. And I have to take that out. You hate to do it, but I have to take that out so that the light will reach down to the bottom. Most of what I take off was the shearing. So I'm clipping with hand clippers, and that's what's coming off. Some little bits, some slightly bigger bits. You could do it with a power shear if you wanted to do it. I use my hand clippers. Then I take those bigger pieces out. And when I'm done, there's the shrub. Yes, you can see through it, but now I don't have to prune it again for 2 years, and it will be healthy. It leaves out very vigorously on those branches that are getting the light now, because I'm taking out deeper pieces as well as just the tip pieces. And I'll show you how it comes back. If it's healthy and if it's in a good site, here's what happens. That yew on the left, we cut to nothing. We didn't take pictures of it at the time. We didn't think about it. We're just at Steve's mom's house doing some gardening. Yep. It was hanging over the sidewalk. Can you see the stain on the sidewalk? I said, this is ridiculous. You have to turn sideways to get to your front door. We chopped it back to nothing. It had no green on it anywhere. And the one that you were seeing a second ago, whoa.
Oh, I did that.
Okay. This one on the other side of the walkway, that's how big the other one was. That one, we cut half of it back to nothing.
Might as well test.
Yeah, because there are some books that say if you're going to cut a hedge back hard, cut back half at a time. I said, well, let's see if it makes a difference. And besides, this is Mom's house, and she doesn't complain when we do crazy things out here. So the 1st of April, we cut this all the way back, halfway back, and to nothing. It was just bare twigs until now we're looking at the 1st of June. Look at how much grew from bare twigs on a plant that was cut back in the 1st of April before bud break. And there doesn't seem to be that much more on the one that is half cut back. Doesn't seem to be any thicker than the one that we cut back all the way. So we then cut back the one that was half cut back, and 1st of June, cut it back, and then let them grow back. So we cut that one all the way back. Said, okay, fine, you're going all the way back, and let it come back again. So that's what happens quickly when you've got a healthy shrub. Later on, we wrote about this one again in What's Coming Up 219. We put it in because then somebody started not pruning it.
Yeah.
And it was creeping out over the walk again. I said, nope, sorry, you got to cut it back hard. It's going to end up in the walk. Okay, there are questions about standard pruning or cutting back hard on a yew?
Yeah, we do have some questions here. Also, for those who are playing our drinking game, it's been a while since we've had to sip, but that was indeed the Boston Garden. That was the ladder demo. So please enjoy your morning beverage. Marilyn is curious if this shearing and pruning, it works for boxwoods as well as yews?
Yes, boxwood, rhododendron, spirea, all of the plants other than PJFACS. You can do this too. Some of them you lose the bloom on, like the Deutzia that we were talking about. Yep. This, what yew stands in for everybody except the PJFACS: pine, juniper, fir, arborvitae, false cypress, and cypress.
Yep. So that would be blue star juniper as well, and bird's nest, Diane is asking.
Right, blue star juniper and bird's nest can only be cut back. They're in the PJFACS group. They can only be cut back to branches that have green
Green
on
on
them.
Have to have green on the branch. If it's no green, no come back.
Okay, we only have 2 minutes, but I can show you false cypress if you want to, because that one is one that's in the
Escape.
PJFACS list.